if you are new here, my name's Leanne and I do food, fitness and lifestyle content, and if you're not new here, thank you for joining me again. Thank you for clicking on this video. I thought today I would speak about how I got into reading, my book recommendations. As someone, when I tell you I didn't read, I did a degree in media and English literature and only read about 2 books. I can't remember the website. I used to use this website that did synopsises for the books. I would not read them. Like, that is how much I did not read. So I thought I'd just give you some recommendations about like how to fit reading in, and just book recommendation as well, because it's easier once you get into the flow of it and once you find your genre. But yeah, without further ado, let's get into the video. So first and foremost, if you've watched my videos before, you know what I'm about to recommend. Kindle, okay? This Kindle is old. I got it in like 2020. I think it was like a Paperwhite or something like that. It's the black and white one. And I've always just had a case for it just because it's much easier to just grab and not have to worry about anything breaking. I've only literally got like the tiniest crack there, which I'm pretty happy with. But I did not actually use this Kindle very much when I got it. The goal was obviously to start reading, and I think, if I remember, I maybe started reading 2 books and then that was it. Gone. Done. No more until 2023. So in 2023 I set myself a New Year's goal, because I like to set myself goals every year, and I was like, you know what, I keep saying I want to get into reading. I feel like I will like reading because I did when I was younger, you know, the classic was it Mallory Blackman, was that her name? I liked her. I liked, oh, what was it, The Secret Notebook? No, I can't remember, but I read when I was younger, right? Not like avidly, but I did read more than I did in my 20s, like early 20s. And so I decided to set myself an achievable goal of 12 books in the year. Now, you're not going to be surprised when I did not start that at the beginning of 2023. It took me, I've got my Goodreads up just so I remember like what I've read and everything. So it took me from the 5th of Jan to the 2nd of June to read the first ACOTAR. Like, I just was not into reading. I was not making time for it. Like, yeah. But as that year went on, I actually went on holiday, and this, don't want to be like, oh my god, but like, I really do think this is kind of what changed the game for me, and obviously coupled with the goal that I knew I had to read these books. So yeah, after the first ACOTAR, I then read Beautiful World, Where Are You? And then I wanted to finish all books I had half finished. So that was Do This For You by Krissy Cella. Again, I'd read a little bit, not all of it. Where the Crawdads Sing, and Why I'm No Longer Talking to White People About Race. And yeah, I finished a lot of them around holiday, on holiday, and I think it just highlighted to me how easy it is to read, how calming it is, how you can really just delve into a different world, like escape reality, but like it's in a nice way. And yeah, I did achieve that goal of 12 books, but literally the nick of time. I finished the last book on the 31st of December, so I just made it. The one thing I think kind of helped me, so I'm going to take you through the books, and obviously I'm going to recommend this series, but I was like, I want to start reading a series. I just felt like one book on its own wasn't doing it. ACOTAR, I actually didn't get in too much with the first book, surprisingly, but you'll later find out I did. But I actually decided to read Harry Potter. I'd never read Harry Potter, absolutely adored the films, and I'd always heard people say the books are better. I was like, no, surely not. The books, they are better. They are so much better. Obviously I still love the films, but I think this really got me hooked into reading. Obviously I knew what was going to happen, but like, I've rewatched the Harry Potter films countless times. I find comfort in that just story, and it was really interesting to find out like it did feel a bit different reading it, because obviously I knew a lot of the plot and everything like that, but there was a lot of different additions and different things. Even some of the characters had like different behaviours, like Ginny and Harry, like they were a bit different in the book, so it was different in that way. Can I say different anymore? I apologise. But yeah, so I finished Harry Potter and actually went on to Magnolia Parks. Now at the time I was like, oh my god, I love this series. And it was like okay looking back, but now I've found the genre I kind of like. It's more just like teen kind of reading. But I still would recommend reading it if you're early on, because it was a very easy read. So I read all of that series, and then after that, that just kind of like, I don't know, just like got the ball rolling, like me going on to new series, a new series, and a new series. So last year I had the goal of 20 books. How many did I read in the end? I read 22, but that includes some audiobooks, because I did start listening to audiobooks through Spotify, as you can get them for free, so I did count that. Let's go into the books I recommend. I have really, I wouldn't say like read a lot of individual books, because I'm a series gal now, but my genre that I'm absolutely just obsessed with now is fantasy. Everyone always spoke about fantasy and like recommended the books, but I was just like, yeah, I'll read it at some point. When I tell you, just fantasy books just really hit different, and I used to always like have a vivid imagination, and I'm an overthinker, so like, I don't know, the way fantasy's written, I just absolutely adore it. So I thought I'd just go through what I recommend. I think every book I've like read, every series I've read, I would recommend at least one of the books. There was one series where I'd maybe not recommend one of the books, but like I think it's still necessary to the storyline, you know? The first one is obviously ACOTAR. I think if you want to get into reading, I would definitely recommend starting with ACOTAR. Obviously I started with the first book, but I just wasn't in the headspace to read, so that's why I didn't get into it. But like, if I think if it was like anyone else starting it and you wanted to get into reading and you started with that book, it is really good. I absolutely loved the series, loved the storyline, loved Sarah J Maas, love Cassian. Cassian is my fave, and yeah, I think it's a really good like chunk of books to really get into. And I then took a bit of a break with Sarah J Maas, but then I did read Crescent City. I think it was a bit after, because I just like wanted to take a bit of a break, and they all kind of link, because I started with ACOTAR, then went into Crescent City. I have read other books, but with Sarah J Maas, and then I'm actually reading Throne of Glass at the moment, and it's all kind of like intertwined worlds, I guess. Think maybe like Marvel, where there's like loads of different worlds and universes, but it like links back to the same thing almost. Absolutely just loving Sarah J Maas's writing. Like, she's my favourite author by far. I just really feel like I can escape with her books, which I really enjoy, and I just love the storylines. So yeah, that's 3 recommendations in one. So the ACOTAR series I'd recommend you start with, then I'd personally recommend you do Crescent City afterwards, and then Throne of Glass. I am currently reading the 3rd Throne of Glass, which is Heir of Fire, and it took me actually a while to get into Throne of Glass. I liked it, but I didn't love it. I wasn't obsessed, and I like being obsessed with books, but after the first book, like you get into it. I basically just got really affected by the use of exclamation marks, because like she really did use it a lot. I think it was one of like the first series she wrote, or it was like early on in her writing, so like maybe that was why, I don't know. But if you have started Throne of Glass and like haven't continued, just persevere, get onto that 2nd book, and the exclamation marks like really decrease, which I was very happy about because I was worried. But other like little series, I guess Crescent City is a little one, is Powerless. I really liked this series. The way the last book ended, I think the next one comes out in April. I'm going to take a break from Throne of Glass, because the way that ended, I was like, wait, what has just happened? Like, it was a shocking ending, okay? But that is a really, if you feel too daunted by the likes of ACOTAR, I would recommend Powerless. There's only 3 books technically, but it's a 1, 1.5 and a 2. I think the 1.5 is like a little novella kind of thing. It's a very easy read, they're not too long, so maybe if you're finding ACOTAR too daunting, do Powerless, because I really loved that series. It was just really like easy read after like a lot of ACOTAR books. So Crescent City, as I previously mentioned, I really liked the first book. Like, it was amazing, as was the second one, but the third one was just a bit slow. I would still recommend the series, but it's always a shame when like one of them's a bit slow, but I guess, you know, sometimes it's unavoidable. But that's a like 3-part series as well, so it's like a nice little short one, and I would recommend it. I'd recommend all the books I've read, to be honest, apart from maybe Magnolia Parks, because that was like a while ago. But I think I've got good choice and good luck in books so far, so I'm just gonna tell you all the books and series I've read basically. Something I read the beginning of this year, which it slightly destroyed me. Not destroyed me, maybe that's an exaggeration, but that book really sat with me. That it really, like, it's on par with ACOTAR. And I can't decide which one's my favourite. I think ACOTAR's maybe my favourite out of all the series I've read, but Fourth Wing is very, very much on par. There are, I'm sure you've heard of it, it's been like all over TikTok, but there's Fourth Wing, Iron Flame and Onyx Storm, which actually just came out, and someone I'm friends with on Instagram recommended. She was like, if you've not read it, you need to read it. So I was like, all right, like loads of people have said it, I'll give it a go. Thank you, Anya. Like, I didn't imagine I'd enjoy the series as much as I did, and like the dragon element I actually really loved. Ten, is that, I don't know if I pronounced his name right. Ten, I love him. Like, oh my god, I just, that series, I really hope she comes out with more, but I believe she has health issues and she released these 3 books quite close together, and I think she's taking a bit of a break, which completely understandable. But I really want that next book because it ended on a proper cliffhanger. It ended the 3rd book was a bit more predictable, but I think that naturally is kind of inevitable to happen. Like, you know, you can kind of predict sometimes where the story might go, but I still absolutely loved it. I'm a very generous like rater on Goodreads. Like, I will rate like so much 5, but I rated the 3rd one 4, but it was still really, really good. Like, so good. It was just a bit, I don't know really, I don't know why I rated it 4. I think I just found it a bit disjointed at times, but it's fine, it's fine. But yeah, I think that's like all my book recommendations. I'm really sorry if I've like explained it really disjointedly, but just a little recap. ACOTAR, definitely read. It's a good series if you really wanted to get into fantasy, to get into it. If a 5-part series, I think there's 5 books, seems too daunting, Powerless, and there'll be a new book coming out soon, so it'll be perfect. You'll end on the big cliffhanger and then be able to go straight into reading the 3rd / I think it's the 3rd book, yeah. And Crescent City, I would recommend. That 1st book was absolutely amazing, and the 2nd one was, it just kind of started like going down a bit, not downhill, but like winding down. I did hear there might be a 4th book, but I personally like don't think it's necessary. But, and then Fourth Wing, that's one, like, my 2 recommendations would be ACOTAR, Fourth Wing. Like, they are the ones that got me obsessed with reading, that I got obsessed with the stories, and I think that's a good thing. And Throne of Glass, obviously I can't recommend the whole series yet because I'm only on the 3rd book, but I'm really enjoying it so far. So if you have read ACOTAR and Crescent City, I'd definitely recommend going on to Throne of Glass. But yeah, that just a few little like tips, I guess, on how I've actually been able to read more and how I actually got into it. Obviously I did that challenge. I think setting a goal really helps, and a Kindle, it really changed the way I read. Like, I know I scream and shout about it, but like, it really, really does make a difference. And having the Kindle app on your phone as well, I'd really recommend. So if you're not wanting to like get out your bag on the train, or like just eating lunch, like I would literally just prop the app up on my phone and just like prop it on my leg and read while I'm eating. Like, that's something I do quite a lot, which like obviously adds up over time. And just no screens before bed really. I tend to always wind down with at least 20 minutes reading. Not every day, it's not like I have it on my to-do list every day, you need to read. I think that does make a difference. I just want to go back to the story, or if I just don't want my phone. I did not long ago do a challenge where I had no phone in the morning or the evening, so that was an hour like in the evening where I basically just read. The only like caveat with reading before bed is do be careful, because the amount of times I've gone to bed late, even missed the gym in the morning because I'm like, I can't sleep enough in time due to reading, is quite bad. So do just try, leave a bit extra time to read if you're reading before bed. And yeah, reading on holiday. So if on your next holiday, buy yourself a Kindle beforehand, read on the plane, read in the airport, read on your sun lounger. Like, I feel like doing it at a time when your life is not as busy makes it less daunting, because you don't want to have your life really busy, really stressful, and you're like, oh my god, I need to read today. Like, I don't think that's a good relationship to have with reading. It's like, I get to read today, I get to read this story, and I get to just have some time delving into this different world. And yeah, reading has really like positively changed me. I think it makes you smarter. I'd hope so. I can't really like say it's made me smarter, but like it's really given me an outlet where obviously I have like fitness and like the gym and everything that is an outlet for me, like mentally, but sometimes that is overwhelming. Like it is, I know people don't speak about it, but sometimes the thought of exercising is overwhelming, and I feel like reading's just like a comfort outlet when you're feeling overwhelmed by everything, to just pick up your Kindle and just stay in bed and read for like a couple of hours. I've done before from just feeling overwhelmed, and yeah, it really does help. So I'd definitely recommend. But yeah, I hope you have enjoyed this video and it hasn't been too all over the place and it's helped. Yeah, go buy that Kindle. And I know we're halfway through the year, but you could still set a goal. Not halfway through the year, we're like a quarter of the way through the year. I know we're early on in the year, so like you can still set that goal. Even just set it, you know, 6 books, 5 books, and make the goal achievable, and then you'll want to read and you'll feel good for doing it. And yeah, so get a Kindle, set goals, read the books I mentioned, and then you can be a reading girl like me. It's a great life. But yeah, thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you in the next video. Bye.